Thank you for coming to my presentation on Crafting for a Cause, Henderson's Library's community project. What we're going to be covering is what is Crafting for a Cause, why was it created, who benefits from it, when and where was it created, how it is implemented, and the project outcome. A little about me. My name is Marquita Dawson. I am the Adult Services Librarian at James Gibson Library. I started in 2017 as a Youth Services Librarian, eventually moving to Information Services. Not very good at knitting and crochet, but I do try my best. I am a San Jose State University alum. In my spare time, I love watching K-dramas and listening to K-pop in my free time. So what is Crafting for a Cause? It's a community project established in 2014 by a librarian named Shakita Kirkland here at Gibson Library. Crafting for a Cause has become an annual event loved by Henderson community. Fun note, Shakita actually had started 2 months prior to the program being established. It started in October, and that meant that she started it in August. She started as a librarian in August. During this annual program, library patrons could pick up a free skein of yarn, crochet, and knitting needles, as well as a pattern packet to use to create a crochet or knitted project. These completed projects are then distributed across different organizations in Henderson, to name a few. We have donated to our local community centers, local churches and hospitals. Those are just some of the places that we have donated to. Why was it created? I created the program because it was something that my nonprofit did for the homeless community in Indianapolis. I taught myself how to crochet so that I could donate scarves, quite a few mishappen, along with food and personal hygiene supplies. When my family relocated to Las Vegas and I began working at James Gibson, I noticed that there was a daily presence of residentially challenged patrons in the branch. I wanted to give back to my new community, and I thought Crafting for a Cause would be a good opportunity for others who felt the same way. This was a statement I received for Shakita when I was asking why did she create such an amazing program. So a good question for everybody that we get asked a lot is, who benefits from it? And that would be shelters, homeless shelters, women's shelters, teen shelters, hospitals, cancer facilities, dementia care facilities, veterans. We have donated to several veterans organizations as well. These are just a few of the organizations that, are the folks that benefit from it. It could always change. It just depends on who we reach out to. This program went into hiatus period due to changing staff. When I came to Information Services in August 2019, my goal was to be familiar with my role at the time. Crafting for a Cause wasn't a part of it. After a few months, we began to discuss bringing it back the following year in 2020. However, COVID happened. This worked in my favor. I can get time to understand how I would want to run the program and become comfortable in my new role as an adult services librarian. When was it created? It was created in the fall of 2014 by Shakita Kirkland, and she had started 2 months prior, and it's currently housed at one location, which is the Gibson Library. That's where they can register and pick up materials. However, this year we just now added another location, Paseo Verde Library, which is one of our sister branches, where they can start dropping off materials there. They are the second. There's only 2 big branches, and that's Gibson and Paseo Verde, so it made sense to have them as another location to drop off materials. How do we run Crafting for a Cause? Here are the details about our preparation and implementation of the project. So just to begin, advanced planning. I like to brainstorm. What my main goal is, every program can be updated. So I work with my department and the feedback I receive from participating patrons to improve for the upcoming year. So for this year, what we did is I discussed it with my department on what I could do to make the process a lot more seamless. So I added bins so we could add, we could color coordinate the yarn. That way people weren't having to sort through our yarn. All they have to do is just go to a particular bin that had that color. And that was a lot more easier for people because last year we had it in 2 round bins and a lot of our yarn wasn't being touched. I know also that was during a time where we were kind of slowly going away from the COVID standards, but this year I think it worked a lot easier and a lot more yarn was taken. I also worked with them to see if, maybe we should start adding crochet hooks or needles. Last year, people were asking, it's like, hey, do you have any crochet hooks or needles? And I didn't give them out, but this year we did. And we did have several people who were like, well, I don't have this size needle. And they can go through and select what needles of the size that worked with that yarn. We also changed how we handed out patterns. We usually just allowed people to go through it, but I noticed that people were not taking anything, and my main goal was to not waste as much paper. So I just created packets. In this packet is 3 patterns of crochet and 3 patterns of knitting. So they had that packet along with the informational about how the program started, when the registration was going to be happening, as well as the deadline. And they had it all in this one packet, and they would take it as soon as they came in to pick up their yarn. And this was the entire brainstorm process, and this was very helpful for me because I can start creating a more seamlessly ran program. Time. This program runs from October to November. In Southern Nevada, the weather is still relatively warm. We can get items to the public before it gets really cold, and our cold season tends to start happening towards the end of November, basically December. For the entire program, entirely, like when I start promoting and planning and getting things up and running, that begins in August. The dates wise, this program is a passive program. That means that we are not taking up any programming space. All we do is you sign up online, you register, and as soon as you register, you come to the main location, which is Gibson Library. You let us know that you've registered. If not, we'll have you sign on a little notepad and we'll input your information for you. And then we will give you your pattern packet with all the patterns and the informational. And you can select a skein of yarn, and you also have an option to select a knitting needles or crochet hooks, which are free for you to keep. You don't have to return it. And this starts in October. This year it ran from October to October 18th. And then on October 19th to November 18th, that's when you have time to submit your projects. Now they can start submitting as soon as they have signed up. We have had that happen a lot. A lot of folks, as soon as they sign up, they're like, I'm done. I want to get another skein. We are totally open for them to do that. We have a bin already placed out, and we'll just put the items that have been completed items only, in that bin. And then they can keep on picking up as much materials as they want, because we do have a lot of yarn. I mean, we have a full shelf. I think I have close to like over 50, like not 50, over 30 boxes of yarn, different colors that have been donated over the years. And that's our advanced planning process. The supplies. The supplies to run for Crafting for a Cause may differ, but this is the supplies that we use for our program. Yarn, which is donated from patrons over the years. You may want to do a yarn drive or a yarn swap, which is completely up to you. Right now, we have a lot of yarn, but at the end of this program for this year, we will be running a yarn drive to replenish. Needles and crochet hooks, those have been donated and purchased. Again, those they've been donated. You might do that with your yarn drive or your yarn swap. We did plastic bags, dryer sheets. We do this because we have a whole process for how we sort and get the materials ready to be distributed to the organizations. Plastic bins, we got our plastic bins through Walmart, and that's just a way to organize it. If you have some other type of things to organize your yarn, completely up to you. We use library carts. If you have shelves or something, that's completely up to you. And labels. I use labels to label the bags to let people know like what's in it, if it's gloves, if it's hats. You know, those are just the materials that we use. The cost, I always ask for $150, just to cover any uncertain things happen that just came randomly. Last year, we used up all that $150 because it had been a couple of years since we had run the Crafting for a Cause. This year we didn't have to because we still had a lot of materials, but if our materials start running low, at least that's the budget that we can set for the following year. Marketing, I don't do the marketing. I am not really really good with that part of designing the create stuff, but we have a really great marketing coordinator who creates our digital and print signs for the library, as well as marketing to our social media sites and any digital displays that we have. It's really important that we have that because a lot of times people will forget that they're participating and we have to send out reminders. Also, a very important thing of our marketing is that we have also created a web page for this program. This site serves as our registration page. If we didn't have it, it would be a little bit hard to get people, get their names and their email address on this website. All they have to do is sign their name and their email, and it comes directly to me. And since it's a passive program, we won't have to go to each day to see who has registered. We can just have it come consistently to me, and I would just add it into an Excel spreadsheet. Also, if you look in the corner, the pink little marketing, that is basically our Crafting for a Cause logo. It's very cute. So this is our implementation project process. It starts in August. We place selected dates on the calendar. We make sure that everything is if we're running into any other programs or possibly a vacation or sort, we want to make sure that we're not bumping into anything. Our website is created with the new dates for the program or any information. We also add our previous numbers of how much items have been donated and which organizations, giving them recognition that we have donated to them. And we also start the process of ordering our supplies. Sometimes things have happened where we'll order supplies thinking that we'll receive it in a timely fashion, and sometimes we don't. But this gives us enough time to receive the items. In September, marketing and promotion has been created. We have posted on our social media. We've started to make flyers that we can post. A lot of times we'll start getting people to register on the website, which is completely fine. They will not be able to pick up any supplies yet until the October date, but at least they can definitely inquire about what the program is. Organizing supplies, as you can see in this photo right here, we have shelves, and we have whole shelves that's dedicated for this program, and we organize everything. So in case no one is here and or someone in my department is busy and they receive a donation, they can just grab a bag, put a label on it, and then they can just put it away in that shelves. and we start doing that. I create an Excel spreadsheet for the registration. This is mainly to keep track of people who have signed up. Also, I want to get a head count because I want to know how many people are participating so I can communicate that to the branch in the department to let them know, hey, this was a very successful program. In October, registration begins for the first 2 weeks in October. It's the beginning of the program. Excitement comes about. They can start picking up supplies. They can even start submitting their materials and coming back for more supplies if we have enough supplies, but usually we do. We're still doing a lot of marketing. We're still getting materials out, but the program is officially underway. November. So as you can see, we've received donations. We've received different types of donations, which is scarves, hats, gloves, baby hats, baby booties, lap blankets, all the jazz. So the program has officially started with the submissions, but the program eventually ends November 19th. That means they had 5 weeks to create their completed project. And that's one thing I will say. Make sure to definitely tell people that if they're going to submit a project, submit something that's completed, because like I said before in the beginning, I'm not really great at crocheting or knitting, and it's best that they complete their project so you're not having to complete it for them. Also, definitely explain that you only want wearable items. A lot of people have asked, like, can I donate coasters? It's a great item, however, someone cannot wear it. But if they're like, can I do fingerless gloves? Yes, you can. Scarves. If it has holes, it's fine as long as it looks like it's completed. It's totally fine. Nothing is perfect. I know we have some perfectionists out there, but it is what it is. After we started receiving the submissions, we also make sure to contact the organizations about accepting donations. That was a lot of rhyming. What we would like to do is to make sure that they are in fact accepting it, and when is a good time frame for us to drop it off in December, because some organizations start shutting down for the holidays in December. So we've run into that ourselves here in Southern Nevada. We sort through the submissions. We make sure the items are submitted are complete. We also want to make sure that if the items have any issues, like what if it has a smell? That's why we have the dryer sheets. If something's spilt on it accidentally, can it be cleaned? So we haven't run into that as much, but it's good to double check just to be sure. Our processing donations, and this is the reason why I have the bags. As soon as registration is over, or even during the submission process, we start processing those donations. What I do is I receive an item. The item, so depending on the size, they'll get a bag. I'll place it in the bag. I will add the label. On that label, it'll say the item, whether it's you'll circle if it's a scarf, hat, or other, and in the other you add what it is. In the top corner, it's a scarf, so I would circle a scarf. The age, is it for a baby, is it for a child or adult? You have to make these decisions yourself. You're basically eyeballing it. If you don't want the age, that's totally fine, but also just make sure you select the size. Like, is it a small, medium, or large, or an extra large material that's received? So when you give it to someone and they're like, is this big enough for a child that has a big head? I had a big head as a child. So I would put, it's a medium and it's for a child. And since these are in bags, we're hoping that they're not trying to put this on their head, but they can guess, like, oh, this didn't fit my head. Can I get another one? There you go. Or if it's like for babies, usually everything's small. So you just say a hat, baby. That's basically what it is. Once that label's on there, we start putting the dryer sheet in there. Again, it's just to help with the scent that comes off from someone, such as cigarette smoke. or anything else that might have permeated the material. The kind of dryer sheets we have is non-scented ones, but ones that can take off as much scent as possible. December is deliveries. This is from us last year. This is all the materials that we had. We received so much donations. I think we had over 480, which is awesome. And then we donated to the a local church, as well as a senior center and a shelter for that helps women and children. And again, we do double check to see, like, are you willing to accept the materials? Also, how much materials are you willing to accept? Sometimes they don't have enough room to accept all the donations that we have, so we do have to, work with them. Program wrap up and the outcome. Gather the numbers. I gather the numbers from my Excel spreadsheet of how many people participated, as well as the numbers for materials donated. This lets the community know, as well as our board know, that this is a very successful community project and that we had a lot of good feedback from people. I sent out a thank you email to the participants, as well as the organizations that accepted our donations. I like to say thank you so much for participating, and we look forward to working with you in the new year, in the fall. And then we start the process of advanced planning, start preparing for next year. I started planning for this program that's happening right now as soon as the project ended. I was coming up with ideas, working with my manager, as well as some of my coworkers. What can I do to make this process seamless and work better for the project, and I'm already coming up with ideas that will definitely impact for next year. It's good to always change things up, or ask the participants what exactly are they looking forward in the program. One of the things that has been asked is if we could add a class on how to knit or how to crochet in the future, because some people do want to participate, but they don't know how to do any of the crochet, or their confidence, like me, is low, and we do our best. And I have completed something. I mean, it's not the greatest, but it's something, and I'm happy with my work. If you have any questions, definitely contact me. This is my email address. I am readily available to answer any questions you may have. If I didn't answer any of your questions during this presentation, definitely feel free to contact me. Thank you.